Hello everybody, I'm Sarah Banks from Banks' Business Solutions, and in this video I'm going to take you through the steps required to create a simple Google form. This is the first part of a two-part video where the second part we will go through how to retrieve the responses to the form. So let's pop over into Google Forms now and get started. Okay, so here we are in Google Drive, and this is where you want to be to start the process of creating a form. You'll need to be logged into Google. As you can see, I'm logged in here, and you access Google Drive through the Google Apps here, and you can navigate to the folder where you want your form to be stored. So today we're in my training video folder. So let's get started. If you go to New, and then More, it takes you to Google Forms. You want to create a new blank form today rather than from a template because we're just going through the basic steps. This opens up Google Forms. Now, there are two versions of Google Forms in use at the moment. There is this version, which is the new Google Forms, and there is the old version. I'm going to take you through the old version purely because it has more options for customizing the form to fit your branding than the new version does. I think Google are working on getting those options in this version as well, but I personally think it's really important to be able to have your branding on your form. So to access the old version, we click on the little help question mark here and go to back to old forms. And Google has now taken us back to the old forms option. So this is your form. So let's have a look at getting started. We have these three form setting options here. For a basic form, we wouldn't be really looking to use these. The show progress bar at the bottom of form pages is what you would use if you'd got a multi-page form, so maybe a form that was 3 or 4 pages long, so people know how much longer they need to complete the form. Allow only one response per person. Now this is if we want to ask people to log into Google before they fill in the form and only respond to our questionnaire once. And shuffle question order. This is if we want to present the questions in a random order to people, but again, for the purposes of this form that we're going to create today, we wouldn't be doing that. So page 1 of 1, so obviously as I said, we're going to do a simple one-page form today. We need to give this form a name, so I'm going to call it customer contact details, and I can't type this morning. So that is our form title, which as you can now see has come up at the top here. Now we've got a little something went wrong today, I'm not quite sure why, so I'm just going to reload this. Occasionally that has been happening with Google, so just hit reload and it brings it all back up for you. We can give the form a description so that people know what the form's going to be used for. Collecting contact details for our company. So something in there that will help people know. Oops, sorry, I didn't need to click on that yet. Take that off for a moment. Now I'm going to show you how to add your branding to the form. So we've given the form a name, we've given its description. We now want to go up here to change the theme. And there are a number of themes, default themes that are created by Google in here, depending on obviously what you want to do with the form. You could choose to use one of these preset themes. What we're going to do today, because as I said, we're just looking over the basics today, is go to the default themes and hit basic and customize. There are a lot of options in here. I'm just going to show you now how to add in your logo and change the colors of the form to suit your brand. So the logo is called a header image. If you go to choose image, you can obviously choose one of these preset images by Google, or you can upload your own logo, which is what we're going to do now. So I'm going to bring my logo in. Now sometimes you'll find that your logo is a little bit big or a little bit small for the form, so you may need to readjust the size of that when you bring it in. This is fine, so I'm quite happy with that. The title, description, question, help text, these all allow you to customize the font and the colors of the fonts that you're using. We're not going to look at those in detail today. We're now going to have a look at the form background. That's this area here, which is currently white, and we can change the colour of that to suit what we would like for our brand. So in this case I could make it purple, and personally that wouldn't really work because we've got a logo on a white background, so I'm going to take it back to white for this form. And that was just to illustrate to you where that would change. And then finally the page background, we can put an image in there if we want to. If there is a particular image that we would want to use for our brand, we would go here and then we can upload that image. I'm not going to do that today, I'm going to stick with what we've got. We don't need to hit save on there. If we just go back to default themes and then click on edit questions again, you can see here everything has been all changed to saved in Drive, so it's always saving for you as you're going through. So if we now hit edit questions, we can start to add some questions. Google will automatically put the first question in for you. You can just delete that, or easier really is just to hit edit and give the question a title. So really, if it's customer contact details, the first thing you're going to want is a name. We don't want this to be a multiple choice option, we just want it to be text. So we select text here. We may want this to be a required question, so we can put a tick in here for required, and we hit done, and the first question is now showing in our form. To add further questions, we click on this add item. They always default to multiple choice, but you obviously have all these different options for adding in questions: text, paragraph text, multiple choice, which is where they can choose one option, checkboxes, where they could choose multiple options, choose from a list, which would give a little drop down list for people to choose from, a scale, which relates to when you may want to have a what did you think of our products on a scale of 1 to 10 type of question, a grid, which is similar to a scale but the options are presented in a grid format, a date and a time. So we're now going to ask them for their email address in this form, which would be another text field. And you can then go through and add in further information. So this is the initial contact details for the customer, the name and email address. You can also add in new sections to your form. So after you've collected name and email address, you may want to collect some information on what services they require. So we would give the section a header here and give it a description. We'd like to know more about your interests, so we can. So description here so people know what they're answering, and then we can go ahead and add further questions in here. So oh, sorry, apologies for that, I've just added in another section there. We want to add in a tick box question here. That's something to just be aware of, is that when you just click on add item, Google will just add in whatever the last item you put in was, so you can easily just take that out and go back to it. I've just put a couple of options in there just to give you an idea of how a checkbox question would appear. And you can go through and continue to build up your form with the questions that you require. Then we go down to the confirmation page section. Now, what happens is when somebody submits their response, Google will then provide them with a confirmation page. So this is your chance to put some information in here to people. So you might say, thank you for completing our form. And that will then be shown to people at the point of completing the form. We have 3 further options at the bottom here. We have a show a link to submit another response. So if people were completing a form that you may need multiple responses to, you could tick this, but in most cases you wouldn't need that. We can choose to publish and show a link to the form results. So if you were conducting some sort of survey that you want to provide results to publicly, you could use this option. And allow responders to edit responses after submitting. Again, if you feel that people may need to change their answers, you could tick this. For this form, we're not going to do that. We can now view the live form and check that we're happy with it by clicking on the View Live Form option right here. And this is the live form that people will see when they come to submit it. If we're happy with that, then we can go back here and click Send Form. This generates a URL that you can share with people. We can shorten this URL just to make it a little bit easier when we're sharing things like Facebook and Twitter. We can automatically share to Google+, Facebook and Twitter at this point. We can get an option to embed this on our website, and we can email it directly to people. I would always suggest that you copy this link and keep it somewhere safe so that you've always got it for the future, although you can always come back in here and get the link again. Click on Done, and there we have it. You have created your first Google form. I hope that you found that video useful today. Please do get in touch if you have any further questions, and please go and watch our Part 2 Google Forms video, which will show you how you can access the responses to your form and set up email alerts for them. Thanks again.